The large ship called Harmony moved slowly toward the blue planet. Commander Taiwan stood by the big window, watching Earth grow larger. His 4 eyes blinked as he studied the home of the humans. "What do we know about them?" he asked. Science Officer Jiwoo looked up from her screen. Her gray skin shimmered under the soft lights of the bridge. "Humans are strange, Commander," she said. "They only live about 100 years. They are not very strong, but they are clever. They have spread to their moon and to the red planet they call Mars." Taiwan nodded. The Galactic Confederation had been watching Earth for many years. Now it was time to meet the humans and invite them to join the great family of space-traveling species. "What about their technology?" asked Security Chief Do-hyun. He was always worried about safety. Jiwoo touched her screen, bringing up more information. "They are not very advanced. They still burn old plants and animals for energy. Their ships are slow and simple, but—" She paused. "But what?" Taiwan asked. "They spend much time and resources on weapons," Jiwoo said quietly. "More than most young species." Ambassador Minji joined them at the window. Her long fingers tapped against her leg, a sign she was thinking deeply. "The Council believes humans will be good members of the Confederation," she said. "They adapt quickly. They have many different cultures. They create beautiful art and music." Taiwan turned to his crew. "We will follow the first contact protocol. We will send our message of peace to their leaders and arrange a meeting." "What if they are afraid?" asked Do-hyun. "Many species panic when they learn they are not alone in space. The humans already look for life beyond their world," said Jiwoo. "Their scientists and writers have imagined meeting aliens for hundreds of years." Taiwan smiled. "Then they will be ready for us." 3 days later, Taiwan stood in the meeting room of the Harmony, waiting for the human representatives to arrive. The ship now orbited Earth, and the humans had responded to their message with surprising calm. "They are coming," said Minji, looking at the small ship approaching the Harmony. 5 humans as we agreed." Taiwan felt a flutter of excitement. In his 200 years of service, he had met 12 new species. Each first meeting was special. The door slid open and the humans entered. They were shorter than Taiwan expected. Their skin came in different colors, brown, pink, and tan. They had hair on their heads in black, brown, and yellow. They walked on 2 legs and had 2 arms, much like many species in the galaxy. The human in front stepped forward. "I am President Hyunjin of the Global Coalition of Earth. We come in peace and friendship." Taiwan bowed slightly, the universal gesture of respect. "I am Commander Taiwan of the Galactic Confederation vessel Harmony. We also come in peace." The meeting went well. The humans asked many questions about the Confederation, about life on other worlds, about the benefits of joining. They seemed eager and friendly. "Your world is still divided into nations," Minji explained. "The Confederation usually invites planets with unified governments. But we see that your global coalition represents most of your people." President Hyunjin nodded. "The coalition includes 142 nations. A few countries remain outside our alliance, but they are small and will join us soon." Taiwan noticed that one of the other humans, a woman named Suna, frowned slightly at this, but she said nothing. After 4 hours of talks, the humans prepared to return to Earth. "We will consider your invitation," said President Hyunjin. "Our council will meet tomorrow. I believe we will accept with joy." As the humans left, Do-hyun approached Taiwan. "That was too easy," he said quietly. "They asked few questions about our rules and laws. They did not try to negotiate better terms." Taiwan had noticed this too. In his experience, new species always tried to get the best deal possible. "Perhaps they are simply wise enough to see a good offer," suggested Minji. "Perhaps," said Taiwan, but something felt wrong. That night, as the Harmony continued its orbit around Earth, Jiwoo called Taiwan to the science lab. "Commander, I have been studying Earth's communications," she said. "There is something you should know." On her screen, Taiwan saw images of military vehicles, soldiers marching, and angry people waving flags. "The global coalition is not as unified as President Hyunjin claimed," Jiwoo explained. "There is another powerful group called the Eastern Alliance. They control much of the land mass on the other side of the planet." Taiwan felt a chill. "And they are not part of the coalition?" "No, in fact, they are enemies. They have fought 3 wars in the last 50 years. Taiwan closed his eyes briefly. This was bad. The Confederation had strict rules about not interfering in planetary conflicts. By meeting only with the coalition, they had already broken this rule. "We must contact this Eastern Alliance immediately," he said. "We must explain that we did not mean to take sides." But before they could act, alarms began to sound throughout the ship. "Commander," called Do-hyun over the communication system, "come to the bridge now." When Tae-won arrived, the bridge was in chaos. Officers moved quickly between stations, and the main screen showed multiple bright lights rising from Earth's surface. "What is happening?" Tae-won demanded. "The humans have launched weapons," said Do-hyun, his voice tight with tension. "Nuclear missiles." Tae-won felt sick. "Target?" "The human colony on Mars," replied Ji-woo, who had followed him to the bridge. "It appears the Eastern Alliance is attacking coalition settlements." They watched in horror as the missiles traveled toward the red planet. There was nothing they could do to stop them from this distance. "How many humans live on Mars?" asked Minji, her voice barely a whisper. "Our scans show approximately 2 million, said Ji-woo. The bridge fell silent as they watched the missiles reach Mars. Bright flashes lit up the planet's surface. Entire cities disappeared in seconds. "I don't understand," said Minji. "Why would they kill their own people?" The answer came 6 hours later. A transmission from Earth reached the Harmony. The face on the screen was not President Hyun-jin, but a stern-looking man in a military uniform. "I am General Sun-woo of the Eastern Alliance," he said. "Your ship has entered Earth space without permission. You have met with our enemies and ignored the legitimate government of half this planet. The Mars colony was full of coalition traitors. Consider this a demonstration of what happens to those who choose the wrong allies." The transmission ended. Tae-won looked at his officers, seeing his own shock reflected in their faces. "We have made a terrible mistake," he said. "We have stepped into the middle of a war we knew nothing about." "What do we do now?" asked Minji. Before Tae-won could answer, Ji-woo spoke up. "Commander, I'm detecting more launches from Earth, many more." "Targets?" Tae-won asked, dreading the answer. "The moon colonies," said Ji-woo. "And," she paused, her eyes widening, "and us. They're targeting the Harmony." Tae-won had studied human history during their approach to Earth. He had read about their wars, their conflicts, their capacity for violence. But he had believed, as the Council did, that they had moved beyond such things. He had been wrong, and now he was about to witness the fury of humanity firsthand. "Shields up," Tae-won ordered as the human missiles raced toward the Harmony. The great ship hummed as its protective energy field activated. The crew watched the screen as 20 missiles from Earth approached. When they hit the shields, they exploded in bright flashes of light. The Harmony shook slightly but held firm. "Damage report," Tae-won said. "Shields at 90%, reported Do-hyun. Their weapons are primitive, but there are many of them." Ji-woo looked up from her station. "Commander, the moon colonies are being hit hard. Thousands of humans are dying." Tae-won felt sick. This was not how first contact was supposed to go. The Confederation had strict rules about not interfering in planetary conflicts. But they had broken those rules without even knowing it. "We need to speak with both sides," said Minji. "We must explain that we did not mean to take sides. Open a channel to both the Coalition and this Eastern Alliance," Tae-won ordered. After several minutes, 2 faces appeared on the screen. President Hyun-jin looked worried. General Sun-woo looked angry. "This violence must stop," Tae-won said firmly. "The Confederation does not take sides in planetary conflicts. We apologize for meeting only with the Coalition. We did not understand your world's political situation." "You chose your side when you met with the Coalition first," said General Sun-woo. "Now you will face the consequences." "Please," said President Hyun-jin. "Our people on the moon need help. They are civilians, not soldiers." The screen went dark as General Sun-woo cut the connection. Tae-won turned to his officers. "What is happening on the moon now?" Ji-woo's fingers moved quickly over her screen. "The Eastern Alliance is bombing the main colony. There are 50,000 humans there. Many are trying to escape in small ships, but they are being shot down." Tae-won made a decision. "We will help the civilians. Prepare our transport ships. We will evacuate as many as we can." "Commander," Do-hyun said carefully, "that would be direct interference." "I know," said Tae-won, "but I will not watch innocent people die when we have the power to help." 3 hours later, the Harmony's transport ships were bringing hundreds of human survivors aboard. The people from the moon colony were scared and confused. Many were hurt. Some had lost family members in the attack. A small human child with tears on her face looked up at Taewon as he visited the main cargo bay where the refugees were being kept. "Are you an angel?" she asked. Taewon did not know this word. He looked at Jiwoo, who had been studying human languages and culture. "A spiritual being who helps people," Jiwoo explained quietly. Taewon knelt down to be closer to the child's height. "No, little one. I'm just a traveler from far away." "Thank you for saving us," the child said. Taewon felt a strange feeling in his chest. The Confederation had rules for good reasons, but sometimes rules had to be broken to do what was right. "Commander," Do-Yoon's voice came through his communication device. "Eastern Alliance ships are approaching our position. They are demanding we return the humans we rescued." Taewon stood up. "Tell them these people are now under Confederation protection." On the bridge, Taewon watched as 5 military ships from Earth approached the Harmony. "They are sending a message," said Minji. General Sunwoo's face appeared on the screen again. "Return the traitors you have taken from the moon, or we will consider your actions an act of war." "These are civilians," Taewon replied. "Many are children. They have done nothing wrong." "They are coalition supporters," said the general. "That is enough. You have 1 hour to return them, or we will attack." When the screen went dark, Taewon turned to his officers. "Options?" "We could leave Earth space," suggested Do-Hyun. "Take the refugees with us, and go where?" asked Minji. "The nearest Confederation outpost is 20 light-years away. We don't have enough supplies for that many people. We could return to Earth and try to negotiate a safe place for these people with the coalition," said Jiwoo. Taewon nodded. "Contact President Hyunjin. Tell her we need a safe landing zone for the refugees." But before they could send the message, the ship's alarm sounded again. "The Alliance ships are firing," shouted Do-Yoon. The Harmony shook as missiles hit its shields. These weapons were stronger than the earlier ones. "Shields at 70%, reported an officer. "Do not return fire," ordered Taewon. "We are not here to fight." Another blast hit the ship, harder this time. "They're using some kind of new weapon," said Jiwoo, looking at her readings. "It's designed to disrupt our shield frequency." "How could they know our shield frequency?" asked Minji. "They must have scanned us during the first attack," said Do-Yoon. "These humans learn very quickly." The ship shook again and lights flickered on the bridge. "Shields at 40%, reported the officer. "One more hit like that and they will fail." Taewon made another difficult decision. "Activate defensive countermeasures. Target their weapons only." The Harmony had never fired its weapons in real combat before. The Confederation was peaceful. But every ship had defenses for emergencies. Beams of blue light shot out from the Harmony, hitting the weapon systems on the Alliance ships. 2 of the ships lost power and began to drift. The others kept firing. "Their ships are too simple," said Do-Hyun. "We can't target just the weapons without hitting their life support systems." Another blast rocked the Harmony. "Shields at 20%, called the officer. "We cannot take much more." Taewon closed his eyes briefly. "Target their engines. Disable the ships without destroying them." More blue beams shot out from the Harmony. The 3 remaining Alliance ships went dark and began to drift. "All enemy ships disabled," reported Do-Hyun. "No life signs lost." Taewon felt relief wash over him. They had defended themselves without killing, but his relief was short-lived. "Commander," said Jiwoo, her voice shaking, "I'm detecting hundreds of launches from Earth's surface." "Both from Alliance and Coalition territories, both sides?" asked Taewon in surprise. "Yes. It appears our defensive action has united them against us." The main screen showed the planet below. All across Earth, missiles were launching into space. Hundreds of them, then thousands. "They can't possibly think they can defeat us with such weapons," said Minji. "I don't think they care if they win," said Jiwoo quietly. "They just don't want to lose." Taewon watched as the missiles approached. There were too many to count now. "Retreat," he ordered. "Set course away from Earth, maximum speed." The Harmony turned and began to move away from the blue planet. "But the missiles followed." "They're tracking us," said Do-Hyun. "And more are launching every minute. Can we outrun them?" asked Taewon. "Not all of them," said Jiwoo. "Some are accelerating faster than we expected. Human technology is evolving quickly." The first wave of missiles hit the Harmony's weakened shields. The ship shuddered violently. "Shields failing," shouted the officer. "Emergency jump," ordered Taewon. "Get us out of this system." The Harmony had the ability to jump through space. traveling great distances in seconds. But it needed time to prepare. Jump engines charging, reported Do-hyun. 30 seconds to jump. Another wave of missiles hit. This time, without shields, they struck the hull directly. Explosions rocked the ship. Alarms blared throughout the Harmony. Hull breach on decks 12 through 15, reported an officer, sealing emergency doors. 20 seconds to jump, said Do-hyun. Tae-won looked at the screen. A third wave of missiles was approaching. Bigger than the others. 10 seconds. The ship shook again as more missiles hit. 5 seconds. Tae-won watched the approaching wave, knowing it would hit before they could jump. 3, 2, 1. The stars stretched into lines as the Harmony jumped away from Earth, but not before the last wave of missiles struck. The ship screamed in protest as it tore through space, damaged and burning. They had escaped. But at what cost, and what had they started? The Harmony drifted in the darkness of space far from Earth. Emergency lights cast red shadows across the bridge. The air smelled of burned metal and smoke. Damage report, Tae-won said, his voice rough from breathing the smoky air. Do-hyun looked up from his screen, his face tired. Bad, Commander. Engines are working at 30%. Life support is stable but damaged. We lost 22 crew members in the attack. Tae-won closed his eyes for a moment. 22 lives lost. In the 900 years of Confederation exploration, they had never lost so many in a single incident. And our guests? He asked, thinking of the human refugees they had rescued. All alive, said Jiwoo. They are scared, but our medical team is helping them. Minji entered the bridge, her usual neat appearance now messy from hours of helping the wounded. Commander, we need to talk about what happens next. Tae-won nodded. Call a meeting of all senior officers in 1 hour. In the meeting room, the mood was dark. The ship's officers sat around the table, many with bandages or burns. We have 3 problems, Tae-won began. First, our ship is damaged and needs repairs. Second, we have 800 human refugees who need a home. Third, we have started a conflict with Earth. We didn't start it, said Do-hyun angrily. They attacked us. We interfered in their affairs, Minji said quietly. We took sides without meaning to. What do the humans say about all this? Asked Tae-won. Jiwoo touched her screen. I've been talking with some of them. They're confused. They didn't know there were other intelligent beings in the universe until a few days ago. Now they're on an alien ship running from their own people. Have they told you anything useful about Earth's military capabilities? Asked Do-hyun. Yes, said Jiwoo, and it's concerning. Humans have been fighting each other for their entire history. War is something they understand well. But their technology is primitive, said an engineer named Ki-hyun. Their weapons shouldn't be able to hurt us like they did. That's the problem, said Jiwoo. They learn very quickly. They scanned our shields during the first attack and adjusted their weapons to match our frequency in the second attack. No species we've met has ever adapted so fast. The room was quiet as everyone thought about this. We need to contact the Confederation Council, said Minji finally. They need to know what has happened. Tae-won nodded. Agreed. But our communication system was damaged in the attack. We need to get closer to a relay station. The nearest one is in the Proxima system, said Do-hyun. 3 days travel at our current speed. Set course for Proxima, ordered Tae-won, and begin repairs on the ship. We need to be ready if the humans follow us. 2 days later, Tae-won visited the cargo bay where the human refugees were living. They had set up a small community with sleeping areas, a food station, and even a play area for the children. A human woman approached him. She was older, with gray in her dark hair. Commander, she said with a small bow, I am Dr. Yunha. I was the leader of the Moon Science Colony. I want to thank you for saving us. Tae-won returned the bow. I am sorry we could not save more. Dr. Yunha's face showed sadness. Many of my people died, but without you we all would have died. Do you know why the Eastern Alliance attacked your colony? Tae-won asked. Dr. Yunha sighed. Politics, power, the old reasons. The Moon Colony was started by the Coalition, but we had people from all nations. We were scientists, not soldiers. Your world seems very divided, said Tae-won. It is, she agreed, but your arrival was changing that. For the first time, all humans had something in common. We were not alone in the universe. Many of us hoped this would bring peace. Instead, it brought more conflict, said Tae-won sadly. Dr. Yunha was about to Respond when alarms began to sound throughout the ship. All senior officers to the bridge, came Do-hyun's voice over the communication system. Emergency! When Tae-won reached the bridge, he found his officers staring at the main screen in shock. What is it? He asked. A ship, said Do-hyun. A human ship. On the screen, Tae-won saw a vessel unlike any he had seen before. It was clearly made by humans. It had the same basic design as their smaller ships, but it was much larger. And it was following the Harmony. How is this possible? Asked Tae-won. Humans don't have ships that can travel this far from their planet. They didn't, said Ji-woo. Until now. Scan it, ordered Tae-won. Ji-woo worked at her station, then looked up with wide eyes. Commander, it's using technology similar to our engines. Not as advanced, but the basic principles are the same. How could they build such a ship so quickly? Asked Minji. They didn't just build it, said Do-hyun, looking at his own readings. They modified one of their existing ships, added new technology to it. Our technology, said Ki-hyun quietly. They must have scanned our ship during the battle and copied our engine design. Tae-won felt a chill run through him. No species they had ever encountered had been able to copy Confederation technology so quickly. They're hailing us, said Ji-woo. On screen, ordered Tae-won. The face that appeared was not General Sun-woo or President Hyunjin. It was a new human, wearing a uniform Tae-won had not seen before. I am Admiral Junho of the United Earth Fleet, the human said. You have citizens of Earth aboard your vessel. Return them immediately. United Earth Fleet? Repeated Tae-won. What happened to the coalition and the alliance? Earth is united now, said Admiral Junho. Your interference in our affairs forced us to set aside our differences. We now speak with one voice. Tae-won looked at Minji, who seemed as surprised as he was. The humans we have aboard came willingly, Tae-won said. They were under attack. That is an internal Earth matter, said Admiral Junho. Return them or we will take them by force. The screen went dark. They're threatening us? Asked Do-hyun in disbelief. Their ship is no match for the Harmony, even in our damaged state. Scan again, ordered Tae-won. Look for other ships. Ji-woo worked quickly, then gasped. Commander, there are 5 more human ships approaching from different directions. They were hiding their energy signatures. The main screen changed to show space around them. 6 human ships were now visible, surrounding the Harmony. They've boxed us in, said Do-hyun. A simple but effective strategy. Can we jump away? Asked Tae-won. Not without more repairs, said Ki-hyun. The jump engines were heavily damaged in the attack. They're hailing us again, said Ji-woo. Admiral Junho's face reappeared. Your shields are down. Your engines are damaged. You cannot escape. Surrender the Earth citizens and we will allow you to leave our space. And if we refuse? Asked Tae-won. Then we will board your ship and take them, said Junho simply. The screen went dark. Again, they can't possibly think they can board a Confederation vessel, said Do-hyun. I think they can, said Ji-woo. And I think they will. Prepare. Defensive positions, ordered Tae-won. Arm the crew. But no lethal force unless absolutely necessary. As his officers rushed to follow his orders, Tae-won looked at the human ships on the screen. In just a few days, humans had gone from a species that could barely reach their own moon to one that could follow a Confederation ship through space. They had copied technology it had taken the Confederation centuries to develop, and they had done it all because they felt threatened. What have we started? Tae-won whispered to himself. The answer came sooner than he expected. On the screen, small ships began to launch from the human vessels. Boarding parties, the humans were coming. Boarding parties approaching, Do-hyun reported. 20 small ships, each likely carrying 10 to 15 humans. Tae-won watched the small craft move toward the Harmony. His ship, once the pride of the Confederation fleet, now had holes in its hull and damaged systems. They could not run. They could not jump to safety. They could only face what was coming. All crew to defensive positions, he ordered. Remember, no lethal force unless your life is in immediate danger. The crew of the Harmony had never trained for combat. They were scientists, diplomats, and explorers. But now they grabbed the emergency, weapons from storage, and moved to protect their ship, the Eo. Human refugees are asking what's happening, said Minji. They're frightened. Tell them to stay in the cargo bay, said Tae-won. It's the most protected area of the ship. The first impacts came minutes later. The small human ships attached themselves to the Harmony's hull like parasites. Cutting tools began to burn through the metal. "They're breaking in at 6 different points," reported Do-hyun, watching the security screens. "Decks 3, 5, 7, 10, 12, and 15. Seal all internal doors," ordered Taewon. "Slow them down." But the humans moved faster than expected. They cut through the hull and poured into the ship, wearing simple spacesuits and carrying weapons Taewon had never seen before. "They're using some kind of electric weapon," reported an officer over the communication system. "It disables our crew without killing them." "Clever," muttered Do-hyun. "They want to take the ship intact." Taewon watched the security screens as humans moved through the Harmony. They worked in small teams, covering each other, moving with practiced skill. These were not scientists or diplomats. These were warriors. "Commander," said Ji-woo urgently. "They're heading for the engine room and the bridge. They know the layout of our ship." "How is that possible?" asked Minji. "The refugees," said Do-hyun grimly. "Some of them must have studied the ship while they were aboard." Taewon felt a moment of betrayal, then pushed it aside. The humans were fighting for their people. He could understand that, even if he didn't agree with their methods. "We need to protect the engine room," he said. "If they take control of our engines, they could take the ship anywhere." "I'll go," said Ki-hyun. "I know the system's best," Taewon nodded. "Take a team. Be careful." As Ki-hyun left, the bridge door sealed behind him. Now it was just Taewon, Minji, Ji-woo, Do-hyun, and 2 junior officers on the bridge. "They'll be here soon," said Do-hyun, checking his weapon. "The bridge is their main target. Can we talk to them?" asked Minji. "Explain that we mean no harm?" "We've tried talking," said Taewon. "They've made their position clear." The sounds of fighting grew closer. Over the communication system, they heard reports from around the ship. "Deck 3 has fallen. Deck 7 is overrun. They've reached the medical bay." Then, a different voice. "Commander, this is Ki-hyun. They've taken the engine room. We couldn't stop them. They knew exactly where to go and what to do." Taewon closed his eyes briefly. Without the engine room, they had lost the ship. It was only a matter of time now. "All crew cease resistance," he ordered over the communication system. "I repeat, cease resistance. Do not risk your lives further." The bridge door shuddered as something hit it from the outside. Then again, and again. "They're cutting through," said Do-hyun, raising his weapon. "Put it down," ordered Taewon. "No more fighting." The door fell with a crash and humans poured onto the bridge. They wore black uniforms and carried the electric weapons they had used throughout the ship. They moved with quick, precise movements, securing the room in seconds. Behind them came a tall human in a different uniform. "Admiral Junho, Commander Taewon," he said, his voice calm. "Your ship is now under human control. Your crew has been detained but not harmed." Taewon stood straight, facing the human. "What do you want?" "First, the return of our people," said Junho. "Second, your technology. Third, assurance that your confederation will not interfere with Earth again. The people you call yours came to us for protection," said Minji. "They were being attacked by other humans," said Junho. "Not by you. It was not your place to interfere." "We were trying to save lives," said Taewon. "And in doing so, you threatened our independence," replied Junho. "No species has the right to decide the fate of humanity. We will make our own path." Taewon looked at the human admiral. There was no hate in his eyes, no anger. Just determination. "What will you do with us?" asked Taewon. "You and your senior officers will be taken to Earth for questioning," said Junho. "We want to learn about your confederation, its rules, its strengths, its weaknesses. The rest of your crew will remain aboard this ship under guard while we study your technology." "And then?" asked Minji. "Then you will be allowed to leave with a message for your leaders," said Junho. "Earth is not a world to be interfered with. We will not join your confederation. We will not be ruled by alien laws. We will defend our independence with all our strength." Taewon felt a deep sadness. This was not how first contact was supposed to go. The Confederation had always believed that advanced species would naturally be peaceful, that technology and wisdom went hand in hand. But humans were proving that belief wrong. "Take them," ordered Junho, and his soldiers moved forward to escort the bridge crew away. The cell on Earth was simple, but comfortable. Taewon had been there for 3 days, answering questions about the Confederation, its technology, its member species, its rules of governance. The humans were thorough, asking the same questions in different ways, checking his answers against those of his officers, who were being held separately. On the fourth day, Admiral Junho came to see him alone. "Your answers have been consistent with those of your crew," he said, sitting across from Taiwan. "I believe you have been truthful." "I have no reason to lie," said Taiwan. "No," agreed Junho. "Lying would not help you." Now, there was a moment of silence between them. "I want you to understand something," said Junho finally. "Humans are not naturally violent. We do not seek conflict, but we will not be controlled." "The Confederation does not control its members," said Taiwan. "It guides them, helps them, protects them." "And who guides the Confederation?" asked Junho. "Who decides what is best for all species? Who makes the rules that everyone must follow?" Taiwan had no good answer. The Confederation Council made those decisions, but the Council was dominated by the oldest and most advanced species. "Your arrival showed us something important," continued Junho. "We are not alone in the universe. There are other intelligent beings among the stars. Some may be friends, some may be enemies, but all have their own interests, their own goals. As do humans," said Taiwan. "Yes," agreed Junho. "And our goal now is to ensure that we can protect ourselves from any threat, whether it comes with weapons or with smiles and promises." Taiwan understood then. The humans weren't angry. They were afraid. Afraid of being controlled, of losing their independence, of being at the mercy of beings with superior technology. "What happens now?" asked Taiwan. "Tomorrow you and your officers will be returned to your ship," said Junho. "Your crew will be released. You will be allowed to leave Earth space with a message for your leaders." "And the message is?" "Earth is closed to the Confederation," said Junho simply. "Any attempt to approach our world or interfere in our affairs will be met with force." "And the refugees?" asked Taiwan. "They have chosen to return to Earth," said Junho. "They are humans after all. This is their home." As Junho stood to leave, Taiwan asked one more question. "How did you build ships that could follow us so quickly? How did you adapt our technology in just days?" Junho paused at the door. "Necessity, Commander. When humans are threatened, we can accomplish things that seem impossible. It is both our greatest strength and our greatest flaw." After Junho left, Taiwan sat alone in his cell, thinking about what he had seen and learned. The humans had united against a perceived threat. They had adapted alien technology in days. They had captured a Confederation ship with minimal casualties, and they had done it all because they felt their independence was at risk. Taiwan had seen humans unleash their fury, and he would never forget it. 5 years passed since the Harmony returned to Confederation space. 5 years since Taiwan had stood before the High Council and told them what had happened with the humans. 5 years of debate, discussion, and worry about what to do about Earth. Today, Taiwan stood again in the great circular chamber of the Council. The room was filled with representatives from 200 species. They sat in rising tiers around a central speaking area where Taiwan waited. "Commander Taiwan," said the head counselor, an ancient being named Serac, whose species had been among the founders of the Confederation. "We have called you here because we face a decision about Earth. You are the only commander who has dealt directly with humans. We need your insight." Taiwan bowed slightly. "I will help if I can, Counselor." "Our observers report that humans have expanded beyond their solar system," said Serac. "They have established bases on planets in nearby star systems. They have built a fleet of ships using technology similar to ours. Some council members believe they pose a threat to the Confederation." Murmurs filled the chamber. Many species feared the humans after hearing about what had happened to the Harmony. "What do you think, Commander?" asked Serac. "Are humans a danger to us?" Taiwan thought carefully before answering. The last 5 years had given him time to reflect on his experiences with humans. "Humans are dangerous," he said finally, "but not in the way you might think." The chamber grew quiet as everyone listened. "Humans do not want to conquer other species or take over the galaxy," Taiwan continued. "They want to protect themselves. They want to ensure their independence. What makes them dangerous is how far they will go to achieve these goals." "Explain," said Serac. "When the Harmony first approached Earth, humans had just begun to explore their own solar system. Their technology was primitive. Their world was divided. They were no threat to anyone but themselves." Taiwan paused, remembering. "But when they believed their independence was threatened, they changed. They united. They adapted our technology in days, not the decades or centuries it should have taken. They built ships that could follow us through space. They captured a Confederation vessel with minimal losses. All the more reason to consider them a threat, said another counselor. No, said Taiwan firmly. All the more reason to respect them and leave them alone. He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of different species. Some with 2 eyes, some with 4, some with more, some with none at all. I have had 5 years to think about what happened, he said. I believe we made a fundamental mistake with humans. We approached them as we would any young species, as children to be guided, to be brought into the Confederation for their own good. We did not consider that they might not want our guidance. All species benefit from joining the Confederation, said Serac. We bring peace, knowledge, advancement. Yes, agreed Taiwan, but we also bring rules, expectations, oversight. Humans value their freedom above all else. They would rather face the dangers of the galaxy alone than be protected by rules they did not choose. The chamber was silent as the council considered his words. What do you suggest we do? Asked Serac finally. Leave them alone, said Taiwan simply. Establish a no-contact zone around Earth and the systems they have claimed. Respect their wish for independence. And if they expand further, if they develop technology that rivals our own, if they become a true power in the galaxy, then we treat them as equals, said Taiwan. Not as children to be guided, but as another civilization with its own path. The debate continued for hours. Some counselors argued for containment, using Confederation technology to prevent humans from expanding further. Others suggested a show of force to demonstrate the Confederation's power and bring humans to the negotiating table. A few even proposed bringing Earth into the Confederation by force for their own good. Taiwan listened to it all with growing concern. They still didn't understand. Finally, he asked to speak again. Counselors, he said, his voice firm, you are making the same mistake we made 5 years ago. You are assuming that humans will react as other species have, that they will recognize superior technology and submit to it. He shook his head. They will not. If the Confederation tries to contain them, they will find a way around it. If we show force, they will build their own forces to match ours. If we try to conquer them, they will fight with everything they have. No species can stand against the combined might of the Confederation, said a military counselor. Perhaps not, agreed Taiwan, but humans would try, and the cost would be enormous for both sides. He looked at Serac. There is something else you should know, he said, something that happened just before the Harmony left Earth. 5 years earlier, as the Harmony prepared to depart Earth space, Admiral Junho had come to see Taiwan one last time. I have a message for your leaders, Junho had said, one that is not a threat but a simple truth. I will deliver it, promised Taiwan. Tell them that humans do not want war. We do not want conflict. We would be happy to trade with the Confederation, to share knowledge, to learn about other species, but as equals, not as subjects. Junho had handed Taiwan a small data device. This contains information about Earth, our history, our cultures, our achievements, so your people can understand us better. Taiwan had taken the device. Thank you. There is one more thing, Junho had said. A personal message from me to you, yes? I am sorry we met this way, said Junho. In another time, under different circumstances, I think our peoples could have been friends. Taiwan had been surprised by the sudden shift in the human's tone. Perhaps we still can be, he had replied. Junho had smiled slightly. Perhaps. But not until your Confederation understands something fundamental about humans. What is that? We would rather die on our feet than live on our knees, Junho had said. It is an old human saying. It means we value our freedom more than our safety, our independence more than comfort, even if it means facing the dangers of the galaxy alone, Taiwan had asked. Even then, Junho had confirmed, we have faced our own demons throughout our history. We have nearly destroyed ourselves many times, but we have always survived, always adapted, always moved forward. He had looked directly into Taiwan's 4 eyes. We do not fear the unknown, Commander. We explore it. We do not run from challenges. We overcome them. And we do not submit to those who would control us, no matter how advanced they may be. In the council chamber, Taiwan finished relating this conversation. I have studied the data device Junho gave me, he said. I have learned about human history. It is filled with conflict, yes, but also with incredible achievements. They have overcome diseases that once killed millions. They have built great cities. They have created art and music of stunning beauty, and they have done it all themselves without guidance from more advanced beings. He looked around the chamber. Humans are not a threat to us, unless we make them one. They do not want our territory or our resources. They want only to make their own way in the galaxy. Serac was quiet for a long time. Finally he spoke. You have given us much to consider, Commander. The Council will debate this matter further. 3 days later, the Council reached its decision. Earth and the systems it had claimed would be designated as independent territory. The Confederation would not interfere with human expansion unless it directly threatened Confederation worlds. A small observation post would be established at the edge of human space to monitor their development, but no contact would be made without Council approval. As Taiwan left the Council chamber for the last time, Serac stopped him. You care about these humans, the ancient being observed. I respect them, corrected Taiwan. I saw them unleash their fury when they felt threatened. I would not wish to see that fury directed at the Confederation. Do you think we will ever welcome them as members? Asked Serac. Taiwan thought about Junho's words. Perhaps, he said, but only when we can approach them as equals. Not as teachers or guides. Only when we can respect their independence as much as they value it. That may be a long time, said Serac. Yes, agreed Taiwan. But the galaxy is old and the Confederation is patient. We can wait until humans are ready if they ever are. As he walked away, Taiwan thought about the small blue planet he had visited 5 years ago. He thought about the humans, so young as a species yet so determined to make their own path among the stars. He had seen humans unleash their fury, and he would never forget it. But he had also seen their courage, their adaptability, their fierce love of freedom, and in that perhaps was hope for the future. A future where humans and the Confederation might meet again, not as enemies but as equals.